Digital photography has made us rush into the images. We don't think that much as we used to when we used film. I don't think it's necessary to do that. We can photograph slowly if we feel like that. If it doesn't mean that with the digital we have to be fast. Hi, it's Peter here, and let's get right into the business. Slow photography is interesting because that's what we used to do when we had film cameras and we had a limited amount of exposures that we could make or photographs that we could make. We might have only 24 or 36 in our rolls, and if you used larger format cameras, you might have only 12, and with the big field and those big cameras, you might only have 1 or 2. That made us a lot slower when we were making photographs. We were thinking a lot more. Nowadays, when we have almost infinite number of possibilities to shoot, we have a memory cards like 128 gigabytes, and we can take like thousands of photographs. So we fire away and we think less. And I think that's some part that has made us worse as photographers. Why don't we just photograph slowly, even though we have 5,000 possibilities to record to our memory cards? Why not just take your time and think about more of the images? I've talked about pre-visualizing in this video, and this whole idea came to me because I was listening to a podcast called The Future of Photography on my flight to Warsaw. It's an interesting podcast, and I will put a link in the description. You can listen to it on your podcast apps or from YouTube. They also have a YouTube channel, and that one I've linked into the description, and to that specific episode that this video was inspired by. They were talking about going out and about without a camera. Just walk around, and when you see something that might be a good photograph, stop there, sit down, and start exploring the scene with your eyes. Make images with your mind. Think what this would look in a different light, early in the morning, late at night, maybe when there is a fog or something. And write those things down and mark the place on somehow that where this image that you had in your mind could be reality with your camera later on when the conditions are better. And while you're thinking and sitting there, also write down how you feel. That's also something that we should think about more, how we feel when we make the photograph and how we and others might feel when we see the photograph. Because I think we talk too much about, is the image sharp, is the image properly exposed? I don't think those things matter at all when we're talking about how we feel. Unsharp image, slightly dark or overexposed might give us more feelings about the things. If the first thing that we start thinking about it, why is this unsharp or there's something wrong, then we kind of lost. And I'm one of those, unfortunately, that too often think about the technical qualities and the technical things in an image, or why is this done this way. So there is a big learning curve for me too, to start to think more about how we feel about the image, even though I've talked quite a bit about it on my channel. And the one reason is that I need to learn myself too. Just spend your time and make those images mentally. And when you have, or you think you've done enough of things written down, go to another place and maybe do the same thing, or go back home and do whatever you'll feel like. And then when the conditions are the way you pictured the image or pre-visualize the image, go back to that spot and make that image. And I think that will make you better through thinking and pre-visualizing the idea. And the podcast that this was inspired by this video is a great one, The Future of Photography, as I said. They have a lot of interesting things about the future of photography, and I think this particular episode was very good. And like I said, there will be a link in the description. But have you ever done that you go to a place without a camera and make images with your eyes and with your mind? And so kind of like what they said in the podcast, that it comes from André Cartier-Bresson, that he made a lot of images in his mind, so what he called mental images. And I think that's really interesting. And it's also something that makes us learn more when we start thinking that how a certain place would look in a photograph. That's like pre-visualizing, which is also, I think, it's learning for us to see, and it also will boost up our creativity and imagination. We can imagine anything, and then maybe that never happens in a place, but we can imagine a lot of things that could happen on that place, and you might go there several times and wait for something to happen. And I think that's a good way of making photographs, and it will make you better and also feel better for your images, and then you don't rush to them, and then you have tons and tons of images and need to spend on the computer. Why not kind of edit the images mentally before you even take them? And by editing, I mean look the best possible time to take that image, or make that image rather, because taking is what we do when we're snapping around, but making the image is when we think and shoot less. We will have a lot more keepers with that. But please let us know in the comments, have you used this method? And if you have any podcasts or channels, YouTube channels that talk about similar stuff, please let us know in the comments down below. I would love to hear and find out or find more podcasts and YouTube channels to watch. And here are some more videos about getting inspired. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.